Thank you so much, Haley. And thank you again, everyone, for joining us today. We're really excited to have this webinar to kind of set you up for the fall season and talk about some new things that we have with Route Manager and are excited to share with you. We hope that you all are enjoying what's left of summer. Can't believe it's already late August and, summertime is winding down. But no worries, it's still an opportunity for us to get prepared for the fall, the holiday season, so on and so forth. So you just heard from Haley, you heard from Yasser. Haley, you can go to the next slide, please. We are going to just discuss with you, like I said, some of the upcoming features that we have for Route Manager. But for those of you who may not know, I just wanted to take a few moments to just discuss or introduce you to the speakers that we have today. So again, you just heard from Haley Mullen. She is with our customer success team. She basically is the person that you all have been reaching out to let her know of any service issues that you're having. So she's diligently been working alongside you guys to help resolve any of your issues. We're happy to have her as a part of our team. And later today, she's going to go through some demos and go through some of the new features that we have. Yasser Bar, this gentleman is a superstar in the Route Manager team, and that he sets all of our customers up for success on our onboarding team. So when you're first, buying Route Manager as a product, this gentleman is the one that introduces you to it and shows you how to navigate through the software, through the mobile app, and so on and so forth. So another wonderful asset for our team. And then finally, me, as Haley mentioned, I am Nicole Fevrin. I'm the product marketing manager for WorkWave Route Manager, as well as GPS. And I'm so excited to be here today to just speak with you all. So right now, we're going to just discuss what we're going to talk about today, what our agenda is. And as Haley mentioned, we do have a packed agenda. At the end of this workshop, though, you're all going to get a copy or a recording of this workshop. So if you're not able to stay for the duration, that's fine. You'll also get a recording of this webinar so you can have all the information. So the first thing we're going to go over are, we just recently launched our one-way SMS messaging. So this is an exciting feature that is really driven from you guys and your requests and what's relevant in the market. So we're going to talk about the tips and best practices for one-way SMS. Also, like I mentioned before, we're going to talk about some recent enhancements that we've added to Route Manager. As far as workflows, we're going to go through some demos of the workflows, but specifically, we're going to talk to routing for days of the week and then using regions, tags, and exceptions. So Yasser and Haley are going to navigate through that for you all to see how to use those features. And then we're also going to just give you an opportunity to know how to get involved, such as beta testings and things like that for new features that we're working on. And then finally, we're going to do some questions and answers, some Q&A. But what we ask is that any of the questions that you do ask, if we just keep it based on these particular topics that we're going to discuss today in the agenda. If you have any support-related questions, please submit a ticket, and Haley and her team will definitely get back to you as soon as possible. Okay? So I've been doing this spiel since the start of COVID-19, but it's something worth, reinforcing to you, our customers. I don't know if we say it enough, but we really appreciate you for choosing Route Manager for your routing needs. There's a lot of different options out there, but we definitely appreciate you choosing us. We feel as though with Route Manager, we are an essential part of your business. We're a tool that helps create a lot of efficiencies for you and your team. And all of the enhancements that we make are based on your needs. So as for example, the SMS feature that we're going to be talking about, that was driven from you as customers wanted. We try to be very attuned with what it is that your needs are and trying to facilitate an opportunity to give you what it is that you're looking for. So Nalan Chopra, who is our product manager, he's listening in on this call too. He reaches out to a lot of you customers to hear exactly your feedback and what it is that you're looking for. We also give you a lot of opportunity to do beta testing. so you can have intimate interaction with the new features and have a say-so ultimately introduced to the software. WorkWave is in it for the long haul. We've been around for over 30 years and we're not going anywhere. We really are customer-centric business. We definitely think of you as a partner and we hope that you think of us as a partner as well. Finally, I just want to reinforce that this is the opportunity to find opportunities in the face of adversity. We're going through some challenging times, there's no doubt about it. But the main crux of this webinar that we're having today is looking forward to the fall and how do we prepare for it? How do we go forward? So that's my spiel. I speak on behalf of all the WorkWave and the Route Manager team, just to again, thank you for being our customers. Before we go into the entire webinar, we wanted to lodge some poll questions to you guys. We love these poll questions because they're super interactive. And Casey, who is a part of our events team, is going to go ahead and reach out to you guys. And it's super interactive. You have on your plane an opportunity to answer the poll questions. Okay, so the first question is, have you been preparing for the upcoming holiday season? Or may not be applicable to all of the, guests that or attendees that we have on the call. But if this is applicable to you, please go ahead and answer, whether it's yes or no. Have you been preparing for the upcoming holiday season?
I have to tell you, I love watching these poll questions as the answers come in.
Me too. All right, so we just got the response back. We got 61% have said no, they have not been preparing for the holiday season, and 39% of you says yes, that you have been preparing for the holiday season. So this is a perfect opportunity with this meeting that we're having, this webinar, to kind of go through some tips and best practices for you to get ready for that. Casey, would you mind launching the next one? Yeah, great. Are you predicting, this is the next poll question, guys. Are you predicting an uptick or a downtick in volume spikes? So go ahead and answer that. Yes or no are your options. So just give it a couple of, like a minute or two. It's so fun. You're right, Haley. Seeing the numbers just kind of populate in there.
Yes. It's like an interactive little video game. Which way is it going to go?
I know. It's funny because my son, he just turned 8 over the weekend, and we did a virtual birthday party for him. And we had this thing called, I think it's Kahoot or Kahoot. And we have interactive games, and the kids and even the grown-ups really love it. So anything we can do to make things interactive is awesome.
Oh, how awesome. Happy birthday to the little guy.
Thank you. So everyone responded to that particular question. Are you expecting an uptick or a downtick in volume spikes? And we have 76% of you say yes, you are expecting an uptick or a downtick. And then 24% of you say no, I guess you figure that the business is going to be unchanged. Casey, please launch the third question. Okay, so with this one, the question is, are you seeing an increase in your contactless delivery? So a lot of customers may or may not be having that need and asking you as a business, do you have contact delivery? So we just want to know, are you seeing an increase in this? The options are yes or no. It's looking pretty split so far. Interesting.
Wow.
I'm surprised.
Yeah.
So I was not expecting that.
No.
So just while we're waiting for this to finish up and close up, it's really interesting, guys. This one is neck and neck. 51%
Yeah,
say yes, 49% say no. Honestly, I expected this to be about 75 to 80% for the yes. So wow, is
Same
I
here,
way
yeah.
off there.
fascinating. That's why I love these poll questions. It's really eye-opening. Okay, Casey,
And
if you could
guys,
just launch.
sorry,
Yeah,
so,
go
and
ahead.
real quick too, guys, just so you know, sometimes the reason we ask these questions as well is it helps us come up with content for future webinars too. We have ideas in the back of our heads, and some of these questions revolve around that. So this one, especially right now, is really interesting. So thanks for participating and voting on these questions.
Agreed. All right, so this is our final poll question. The question is, how often do you build your routes? So we have several options. The first one is weekly or daily or monthly, multiple times a day, or seasonal. So go ahead and submit your vote, and we'll discuss the findings in about a minute.
The voting on this one is about where I expected it to be.
Yeah. I thought a little more on weekly, multiple times a day is taking a little more than I thought too.
All right, yeah, with that one, as Yasser and Haley said, the majority of you voted that you do your routes or you build your routes daily. So 47% of you said daily, and then 34% of you said multiple times a day. So that's exciting. There's a lot of value you're finding and use you're finding with Route Manager. So that's always good to hear. All right, wonderful. So now that we've gone through all of that, now we can get into all the fun stuff. I'm going to hand it over to Haley, and Haley's going to go over our one-way SMS messaging tips and best practices.
So I may have to relaunch this real quick, guys. Let me see if this will work. Sometimes we do the polls, we can't get right back in. So can we see the one-way SMS messaging tips and best practices screen?
Yes, we see it.
Beautiful. Thank you. Okay. So as Nicole mentioned earlier, one of the things we are going to talk about is the one-way SMS messaging, which we launched last month, and the best practices. Here is some good news for everybody. We are very, very, very excited about this. As you know, when we launched this, if you are using the SMS, there was only one format previously allowed. That is the one that's up top that required the +1. So the plus the country code and the number. Now you can start doing this now. And if you are getting your data from another source, this is going to help you immensely. As long as your data is in one of these formats in green, you can use these for your SMS messaging and they will be recognized. You don't need to use just a single one in your data. You can use a mishmash of all of these. However, on the bottom, we do still have the format listed that is not acceptable. Anything that is an invalid country code still cannot be used. But now we have 5 formats that can be used up top. And as you can see, we have the 3 new ones. We can use parentheses and hyphens only, and also without the +1. Also, some good news, and this also comes from everyone's feedback about this feature. When we started, the SMS only allowed you to use up to 160 characters. Now you guys can go ahead and you can create longer text messages up to a character count of 500. So if you have a little bit longer message you need to share with your user, you can feel free to do that now. As a reminder, the email messaging still remains at a character limit of 1,000 characters. Messages over 160 will be converted to a single message by your recipient's phone carrier. However, if you are using anything over the 160 characters, it can be charged as more than one message depending on the character length. Also, another note, items that can cause an SMS to be charged as more than one is using emojis or special characters. So think of language characters and items like that, items that are non-GSM characters. With the launch of SMS, of course, sometimes there are going to be some other issues that come up. You may have a customer who says, hey, I didn't get my text message. Or maybe a customer reached out to you, they didn't get a message and you don't know why. So one of the things support can assist you with now is SMS logs and unsubscribes. If you need assistance with this, we ask that you use the support button in the interface, or that you email us directly at support.wwrm@workwave.com, or you can call us. The number is 800-762-0301. You don't have to wait for the prompts. You can click 3 for support, then listen to the next set of prompts for Route Manager. Some of these instances will take some time for support to pull, so we ask for you to be patient with this. It can take up to 48 hours, but it can also take much less depending on the request. One thing to note when it comes to almost there notifications, if you have our 360 plus virtual tracking and you're using almost there, if the driver is going out of sequence, your end user will not get notifications unless your driver pops back into sequence. So if your driver goes out of sequence and we can't predict where the driver is going next, that almost there will not go out to your customer. And one quick thing on the unsubscribes as well, it is possible that maybe a customer didn't realize that they unsubscribed. And if they reach out to you, let us know, and we can help with getting them back on that list for you. But all of this will require submitting support tickets. And here's just some information that we need on the support side to be able to assist you with this. When you're putting these requests in and you're asking for information, please let us know the date that this occurred, the phone number that you were trying to send the notification to, and if possible, the order ID. But the two most important parts are the date and the phone number. If we don't have those, we will need your permission to log into your account and try and search where this phone number was located at and on what date. And now we're going to move on to recent enhancements to Route Manager, and I am going to pass the baton over to Yasser.
Awesome, Haley. Thank you so much. All right, so with some of the recent enhancements, the first one I'm going to discuss today is, of course, order executions, showing you more visibility, more details into what actually happened. So if you look at the picture on the right, we updated first the plain summary to show more details about executed orders, whether they're done, to be rescheduled statuses, undeclared, that means an order that doesn't have a status confirmed on it in the mobile app, to do, and so on and so forth. So all those, like I said before, are going to give you more visibility, less, guessing of what actually happened execution-wise, and so on and so forth. And then another really cool thing on the next slide is the ability to display this information in like a different preference or different display within either the scheduler or the order grid, which is the menu above the map on the routing page. So as you can see in the picture here, we're showing you that you can add all the different execution statuses for executed, done, to be rescheduled, and the same things that display in the plane summary, but you could display them next to each individual route above the map in the scheduler. And this one is, when we get onto our demo later, we'll show you as Haley's demonstrating in her account. I'm going to log in the background. And you're going to see that we recently updated to let you know additional users within your login hierarchy, people you've given access or created as additional users to log into Route Manager, maybe into certain territories, maybe into all of your territories. You'll be able to see when somebody is in the middle of an editing transaction that is blocking you, and you'll be able to know exactly who that user is as it displays now, instead of just saying somebody's editing the plan.
Yeah, and yeah, sir, I think this was such a great addition. Previously, we always did have the somebody else is changing the plan banner, but I think sometimes it confused people. So now if you are using that login hierarchy, it's going to tell you who it is that's changing the plan. And if you need to get in there, now you can reach out to that person directly and go, hey, can you finish what you're doing? I really need to jump in there. Maybe they can pop up later, or maybe they can finish what they're doing really quick. One quick note on this, you know, we have it listed in this slide here, is that if they're doing an optimization, this part has to wait until the optimization is completed. Once it's completed, the user still needs to click apply now so that the next person can go in. That is something to be aware of. Apply now does have a countdown timer on it, but it does take 2 minutes. Just to be aware, if you have items that maybe you didn't save during an edit and you leave your browser before clicking apply now, you will lose those edits.
Another really good point, Haley. Thank you. All right, so some of the things we're going to dive into now. Yeah, this is the fun part. Yeah. Looking at regions, tags, exceptions, and ways to basically set repeatable weekly rules, so to speak. Now, some of the things you're going to see us demonstrate when we share our screen in our test environment, you're going to see us towards the explanation at the bottom where it says daily, single, or one-off exceptions. Obviously, a lot of people have been clicking on their vehicles' names and changing their vehicles' rules on the fly, you know, date by date, whenever they need to, and, you know, overriding their normal day or repeatable settings that they set up in the setup menu, as mentioned right there in front of you. So what we're going to run through with regions and also with tags, which are like skills and specializations, whether they're driver or vehicle related, I'm going to show you really cool ways to set weekly or day of the week, like a Monday rule on your vehicle. Instead of just any normal day, you can go into your vehicle settings and say, I would like my vehicle settings to be different every time the calendar falls on a Monday, whether it's region applied or whether it applies to tags, working hours, and so on and so forth. So as we get to the next slide, we'll dive into some more information we're going to show you as well. Some of this applies, Haley, like it shows here, to like vacations, permanent changes, schedule, like leaves of absence, holidays. They're all like really cool examples we've seen like firsthand, and people have mentioned to us on like support line or, you know, as we walk them through onboarding. So whatever examples, yeah, exactly. And whatever examples people, you know, whatever examples you come up with that you need to really set specific rules aside for any specific date down the line, whether it's like a holiday, to say my vehicles are not available on this day, even when I'm expanding the calendar, I don't want any routes for my vehicles to appear on that day or anything like that. We could do those kind of things, or even for one specific driver that you know is just going to, you know, not be available for quite some time, like the permanent leaves of absences or temporary leaves of absences. And of course, like we said, this is going to apply to regions and exceptions and tags in our workflow. The day of the week, regions and tags and so on. You can create the regions in the setup as we're going to show you. And after the creation, we're going to go back to the vehicle, set up those exceptions for the day, and, you know, like I said, Monday rules, Tuesday rules, Wednesday rules, every time the calendar falls on a specific day of the week, you run those rules instead of just having the same settings every day on normal day. Either way is fine, but of course, the exceptions will help you if you do have those repeatable settings that you need. And of course, just to remind you there was we could set up those on the fly one-time exceptions, which we'll show you as well. The same thing applies for the tags. So instead of using regions to uncheck and check on certain days of the week to say, hey, on Mondays, you're all not allowed in the North Zone or in the West Zone or whatever city or area that you deliver to, zip codes even, you know, those kind of things can be applied to tags or those skills and specializations that we match up on the vehicles to say this vehicle has a lift gate or a refrigerator, or even tags can be day of the week, like we're gonna show you as well. So you can say the vehicle has Tuesday tags, a Monday tag, and a Wednesday tag, any day of the week tag, and we'll show you how we're gonna marry those up or basically pair them up with orders that have those same tags to say, we're building across a week or we're building day by day, but all the orders on the map, I only want the Monday ones assigned on my Monday dates and so on. So
sorry, I clicked that by mistake.
You're good, Haley. All right. And of course, your exceptions will be honored during optimization. What we mean by that, of course, is picture you have your normal day settings saying my vehicle works from 8 to 5. And then today is the 20th of August. If you click on the vehicle's name from the map, or even create a one-time new exception for the date of the 20th of August, that means the dated exception takes priority over your normal day, repeatable everyday settings whenever the calendar falls on that date that you have that rule on. So just always be aware of that, and that's just one of the best practices to keep in mind when you're playing around with exceptions, if you decide to have more than just your normal day rules, of course. And then another thing to take a look at is the required vehicle rule. And using required vehicle, it's a really powerful rule. You're overriding and you're predetermining for Route Manager, saying that you can pick the sequence and all the other details, but I'm predetermining which vehicle you have to pick. So it's a really powerful rule and will override even your regions and tags as well, and will generate a violation to let you know you've done so. That's basically a best practice wise. I think we can get into the demo pretty soon.
Yep. So bear with me a second here while I flip screens. Okay.
All right.
Can everyone see my Route Manager?
Yes.
Yay! Okay.
Let me see if I can get in your way real quick.
Dive into the before we dive into the actual workflow a little bit here, I did prep a couple of items ahead of time just so you guys can see them. So first off here, I'm going to go to my style on the map. I'm going to turn on regions I already have created, which I have a blue one up here and a red one down here. Currently, I have my vehicle set up. And what I want to do when I start doing this, and after I click on setup, Yasser will be taking me through each of these steps. But I want to go to my setup to start both of these processes. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. If you look down the bottom. Uh-oh. Musician extraordinaire is changing the plan. So what does this mean? This means I can look at my setup, but I can't change anything. And of course, our musician extraordinaire is Yasser Bar.
All right. So I got to hit apply now.
He is a wonderful musician. I will say that.
Thank you, Haley. You too.
Oh, thank you.
A lot of musicians on the Route Manager and GPS team. Yeah.
Yes. We have so many of them. But that was perfect timing on that. That was great, Yasser. Thank you. But hopefully you all kind of got to see there how that works. Now, as soon as he clicked apply now, that banner went away. As soon as that banner goes away, I know I'm good to come in here and go ahead and start doing my work. So now, Yasser, can you walk me through creating a region?
Of course. So we're in our setup menu now, and at the top banner, you're going to see regions between vehicle assignment and traffic. When we go there, those polygons in the background, those shapes, those zones, those perimeters, whatever way you put them, those are the ones that Haley had in place already, and she used the Style All menu to display them. So what we're going to do now is we're going to hit New Region on the left, and we're just going to draw one around like North Jersey, Brooklyn, anywhere, even Staten Island. Yep, and we're just left-clicking and moving to the next point to create any shape and size, and don't feel like you have to create these perfectly the first time or draw them perfectly. You could finalize them by dragging and dropping and come back and move it around and edit however way you want. So now we're just going to name it and just give it a unique color that pops up. We're good to go. We're going to save that, and then right after that, we're going to go to our vehicle settings. We're going to talk about those weekly exceptions, and then obviously we'll show you those shortcuts we were talking about too for one-time exceptions. So we go back to vehicles here, and we click on any of our vehicles on the left and go to routing settings. And once we start editing our routing settings, or actually before that, we can go to, what do you think, Haley, a new exception?
We could do that.
We can
Here,
do that.
I will go back. I'll go to new exception.
And for this now, the dated exception, we'll show you a better shortcut than coming here to do, but obviously you can do it from here to override your settings for whatever given day you're working on. So what we want to do instead is hit weekly up top. Exactly. Thank you, Haley, for demonstrating that. And then after that, this is when you're saying, these are my Monday rules, these are my Tuesday rules, and so on and so forth. So we're going to pick Wednesday, and we're going to create an exception. And then up top, you can see what you're working on, which is really cool with the border under the editing settings on. And then here, we're going to scroll down, and we're going to take a look at our regions. And once we're at regions, yep, we're going to uncheck everything except for the Wednesday one. That way, when the calendar falls on a Wednesday, you're allowed to serve all of the orders in the Wednesday zone, but obviously not on other days. So we uncheck that, and by default, perfect. Thank you, Haley. And then we're going to save, or maybe it would be a good chance to talk about tags as well, Haley, or what do you think?
Well, real quick, just in case folks have a lot of regions and you're not seeing everything listed here, if you check out the verbiage here, it's going to tell you how many regions there are total in your list and how many are checked. So this is a good check and balance here to make sure the information is correct that you have set up. Yeah, but while we're in here, we could certainly work on the tag too.
Awesome. Okay. So we have some in there already, but what we want to say on the Wednesday rule is we are not allowed to do anything that has to do with Tuesday, that has to do with Monday. So we would X those out first and then add a tag for Wednesday. So we're just going to abbreviate these. You don't have to type in the full word. Like you don't have to type in like liftgate or refrigerator. You could use your own special, abbreviations. We got that. We hit enter and it creates a tag. And I guess we're all set to save our Wednesday weekly settings.
Yeah. And guys, just in case it seems a little bit hard, because you did see me X out Tuesday and Monday. If you look now, they are under suggested. They're not up here with our tags that are active. These have little plus signs in here, and if I wanted to add those up there, I would just click that, and now that would move to a tag for this exception.
Perfect. Thank you for that, Haley. Awesome. So we're going to save, and let's back out. Okay. Now, before we move on to that, or what do you think, Haley? Should we build anything out across the week, like expand the calendar or anything like that from Wednesday and Thursday, or or should we create something or change that to a Thursday rule?
Real quick.
Okay.
So guys, since
and demonstrate how the tags look.
Yes. Yeah. If you choose to use tags, you also need to update your import file. If you use API, you can update your API. But I already created a file so that you guys can see it. This is our data. So I have my name. I did put a required vehicle column here just in case, even though we're not going to use it today. I have my address, service time. Here is my required tags column. And you'll see right next to it, I also have a banned tags column. This is helpful. Maybe Daedalus and if we're not talking about days of the week, if we're talking about skills or things like that, maybe they have a requirement for a certain skill a driver has, but maybe there's something that that driver also cannot do for them. So maybe you have a required tag of Spanish, or maybe a certain item for the truck. Or sometimes what happens too, maybe your customer doesn't want a specific driver. And if that tag is on the vehicle, you can also set it up as banned. This is a really helpful tool, but you can see here when I set up the required tags, I did this using the exact same way I entered them in the interface. So this tells the system a couple things when I import it. A, this can only be done on a vehicle that has, and two, because I set the exception, then that will only be done on that day. Now, what I put here too, and I know this is a whole lot of information, we can come back to this again after, but I also showed you what the SMS formatting will look like here. And one note with this, when you have the SMS phone, this information will not pass over to your driver's mobile app. If you would like your driver to also have that phone number, maybe because they need to do a call ahead or something like that, copy and duplicate this column, and you can make it a custom field. This way, this will show up for your driver, and it will pop in as the format that's over here. I just entered different phone numbers, but I just wanted to explain that real quick. Then if you are using email, you just have to have your valid emails listed here, and then notes and any other items are here. But we just wanted you to see how the tags and everything looks, and especially since we talked about this stuff earlier, this is here as well.
All right, really cool. Thank you, Haley.
Here.
So
And
what do
my
you think? We're
orders
going to go
are
through an
already
import?
imported.
Oh, cool. Awesome.
Well, I already imported them. Yep. So now, I guess we can try a build and see what happens. And let me do this because that's on Thursday, and all we're working with is Monday through Wednesday. Let me go to next week here.
Okay.
And I chose multiple days, and I'm just going to click build.
Yeah, this is a really cool approach for people that are like,
too.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Jasper. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say it's like a really cool approach for people that are like weekly builders. Like that's why we asked that question, because this was a big part of our flow today. You know, on what type of frequency do you build? And we did see that a good amount of you are weekly builders. And maybe this type of flow helps some of you that are less frequent or even more frequent, maybe settle into a different frequency of building or using Route Manager, however way you see it. So go ahead, Haley. I'm sorry.
Yep. And I was just going to say that there are some people who maybe have their days of week built in simulations. If you don't want to have that in there, and you know, maybe you're bringing in import sheets all the time, this might be a quicker way to help with that.
Exactly. Really cool. So as we can see, yeah, onto these vehicles, orders assigned across the different days of the week for the different regions. Yep. We can see it highlights, of course, in the right region.
One vehicle that we updated. So this one has both the tag and the region and everything assigned. Now in the background, so you guys know, some of my other vehicles also have stuff assigned and things like that. They're set by region for day of the week and items like that. You can keep playing with this. And then, Yasser, we had mentioned about doing the single exceptions. So if I wanted to change something for Wednesday, maybe I only have that one vehicle available. Maybe I have so many orders, I need to add more. So I can come in here, click on the vehicle name, and it tells me right up here. Now I'm doing a single day exception, a single date. So it will always tell me up top what my exception is. I can come in here. Okay, my region is correct.
Tags are
So
good.
what's my tag? My tag is Tuesday. So I can come in here, I can add my Wednesday, I can save this, apply now, and there's a little trick too while we're at this. Maybe I like my other two routes here, you know, so maybe I want to lock, and maybe I just want to build for this one here. Now I can come in here, and instead of re-optimizing everything again, I can just ask the system to try and build orders here. Although it doesn't like something else about my vehicle, which it may not be allowed in that region.
No,
which is highly possible. But
all right.
This too is a good way. Real quick, I know we're getting towards the end and we want to hit the Q&A, but guys, when you have issues where things don't build, it's always good to go back and recheck your vehicle settings. What is it that is causing that to not occur? We have our region fine, and we do order constraints. We have other constraints in place. Our tag is there. So some of these orders, even though they're in the Wednesday region, they have a day that is different than the region.
Yeah.
So that's why they are not being served. And then as always, click the apply now.
Really cool. Makes sense, Haley. So what do you think? A little bit of editing columns or show off the plan summary updates? Or?
Oh, yes. So, perfect. Thank you for reminding me, Esther.
There you go.
As we showed you earlier, the plan summary, and here you can see I have a total number of 87 orders on the map. 22 were assigned, 65 are unassigned, and if I had them executing, I would start, this great part here is the violations. So if I forced something into a route or I had that required vehicle, this would activate. But then here, without even diving into an order now, I can at least see my count of what's been executed, what's done, what's to be rescheduled, what's undeclared, what still has to be completed. That's just awesome. And then in that other slide, we also showed you the edit columns. And we would be able to add those in here. And let me make sure I'm in the, sorry guys, I have my meeting thing right here. Now, because I'm not approved or anything else yet, let me dispatch. There we go. And then if I come back out, go back into my edit columns, then I would also be able to add in my executed, done, to be rescheduled, undeclared, to do. I have no drivers assigned. I can make sure I have my drivers assigned, because one thing to mention with that is only active with your 360. If you don't have 360, that's not going to be available. So let's just pop some drivers in here. There we go. Now we have some drivers. My routes are dispatched. And then once we start running, we can add information in as well. And then I think next.
I think that's all, right?
Oh, yeah. So now bear with me a second here as I get back to the presentation. Okie doke. And so we are just about getting towards the end here. And before we get to Q&A, we had mentioned, we are very interested in having you guys become more involved and help us with the product. So for upcoming features, if you are interested in testing them out, becoming a beta tester, possibly, providing input on ideas and items, please feel free to reach out to support. And again, I have the information here. Click the Ask Support button in the interface. Email us at support.wwrm@workwave.com. And again, you can also call us 800-762-0301, option 3 for support, and then listen for the prompt for Route Manager. We will take your contact information and we will pass it along to our product team and they will reach out to you. Now, everyone's favorite part of the day, Q&A. So Yasser, do we have any questions that folks have today?
Let's take a look. Does SMS notify about lane lines or uncontactable numbers? This is from Jeff Ganella.
So I'm not sure what you mean by an uncontactable number. If the number is valid, it will send an SMS. Whether the end user can receive it or not is a different issue. And technically, SMS can be sent to landlines.
All right. Let's see, any other questions? Okay, when using the build button, Haley removed the lock icon. However, even locked it is still possible. Not sure what you mean by that, Ed. I guess he's answering Brianne's question. Let me take a look at that.
Let me see. When using the build button, Haley removed the lock icon. However, even locked, it is still possible.
Ticket, and we'll be happy to respond to you as soon as possible.
All right, great. Thank you, Nicole. And thank you, everyone. Real pleasure being here.
Definitely. All right.